Leah and the Lockdown Drill, written and illustrated by Jodi J Fiore. In a school just like yours that is not so far away, there is a story about Leah and the big lockdown drill day. Who is Leah? Well, she is a little girl with big, pretty blue eyes and brown little curls. Leah is a great colorer who has already lost one tooth. She can tie her shoes pretty quickly and always tells the truth. Leah loves going to school each and every day with her best buddies, Nick, Addie, and Dan, who all like to run, skip, dance, and play. Nick loves baseball, and Addie has cool pink boots. Dan could do magic tricks like jiggle and wiggle his loose tooth. Our story happened on a Tuesday that began as a normal day of school. Leah was having fun with her friends, creating a block tower that was so cool. Principal Fred stopped by to the classroom to say hello and to give the children some news. Very important information they needed to know. Their teacher, Mrs. Stanley, asked all of the students to freeze. She told them to pretend that they were popsicles and to listen to Principal Fred, please. The children were very quiet as Principal Fred began to speak. All eyes were upon her. None of the kids talked, not even a little squeak. She reminded the children that tomorrow was their first lockdown drill. It was a time to practice being safe, not for any funny business or being silly. Principal Fred said to listen carefully and everything will be fine. Your teacher will take good care of you. Just follow directions and stay in line. The principal said goodbye and the children got back to their work. Suddenly, Leah felt very nervous. Her belly was rumbling and really started to hurt. What's a lockdown drill? Leah nervously asked Nick. He told her that it's something really cool and that the fire trucks will be driving up so quick. They'll bring with them enormous hoses and also really big metal locks to tie us down and squirt us. Lockdown drills really rock. Dan said, it's about our fire safety. That's what a lockdown drill is. When you learn to stop, drop, and rock and roll, and you play your air guitar like this. Addie shook her head and said, you are so silly, Nick and Dan. That is not what a lockdown drill is. Leah, I will tell you all about the plan. Yes, the firemen will talk about fire safety. They'll bring with them locks that are big enough that they have to break open with drills. It gets so loud, so I will bring my purple earmuffs. Leah, Addie asked, do you hear what I said? If you want, I will bring my pink earmuffs so that you can cover up your own head. Leah's belly felt funny. She wanted to lay down in her bed. She didn't understand this lockdown drill and what her friends had just said. Leah still felt nervous. When it was time for lunch, she did not want to eat her food, even her purple grapes in a bunch. Addie asked her what was wrong. Dan asked if she was feeling pukey. Leah just shook her head no. Nick asked if he could eat her cookie. Leah could not stop thinking about this whole lockdown drill thing. She thought that fire trucks were so scary. They hurt her ears and made them ring. When lunch was over and it was story time, Miss Stanley told the class to go to the rug and sit. She wanted to talk about a lockdown drill. She wanted to explain what it was for a bit. She asked the class to raise their hands if they knew anything about a lockdown drill. Only one student raised his hand. That student was a boy named Bill. Bill said, "It's just to practice for when you lose your keys or accidentally lock them in your house or car and you run around like you're being chased by bees." Miss Stanley smiled at Bill and told him his guess was an excellent try, but that was not what a drill is really about. And now she would explain why. She asked the children to raise their hands if they ride bikes on a sunny day. She reminded them how they must wear a bike helmet so their little heads are always protected that way. Then she told them to think about when they are going for a car ride and how they always wear a seatbelt so around a moving car they will not slide. She explained that we do these things to keep us protected, safe, happy, and that is just what a lockdown drill is. It is very easy to understand and a quick snappy. When we hear an announcement that a lockdown drill has begun, we will get up to hide in our cubbies. We will walk quietly. No one is to run. Teacher will put down the shades and then turn off all the lights. Next, the doors will be locked tightly. And then one more important thing, all right? You must listen closely as this is the most important part. Miss Stanley's eyes got really big and she placed her hand over her heart. Miss Stanley talked in a whisper voice and she leaned forward and closer in her chair. All the children were listening carefully and she whispered her important words into the air. She looked each child in the eye and she kept on whispering repeatedly. During a lockdown drill, there is absolutely no talking. Do not talk at all. Do you understand me? Each child nodded their heads to let Mrs. Stanley know they heard her words. They now knew that during a lockdown drill, not a word or giggle was to be spoken or heard. Shh. Miss Stanley then sat back in her chair and started speaking in her normal voice. She told them, just like a fire drills, we now have lockdown drills. We just have to do them. There is no choice. Miss Stanley smiled at the boys and girls and then asked them if the drill was easy breezy. The children all laughed and raised both hands and said all together, "Lemon squeezy." Leah now felt so much better. She no longer felt scared and weird. She knew a lockdown drill was just for her safety, not something she had feared. She turned to her friend Addie and asked if she could still bring those pink earmuffs to school. Leah knew she would not need them, but she thought to wear them would be really cool. The end. Leah